Consider two non-conductive and concentric thin spherical shells. The inner shell has a radius a and charge q, and the outer shell has a radius b and charge minus 2q, and the charge is uniformly distributed over the surface area of both shells. Consider a spherical coordinate system with its origin coinciding with the center of the shells. So we have a position vector to some point being described by a magnitude r and a unit direction vector r hat. Calculate the electric field at any point in space. So constructing a Gaussian surface where r is less than a, so we'll take a spherical surface which has a radius r. So the electric flux through this surface is equal to the enclosed charge on the permittivity of free space. So there's no enclosed charge, and therefore the electric field is 0. Now between A and B, we take another Gaussian surface, and that has a radius r. So the electric flux through this surface is E by the surface area being 4 pi r squared, and that's equal to the enclosed charge being Q on the permittivity of free space. And if we divide through by 4 pi r squared, 1 on 4 pi epsilon naught is Coulomb's constant by the charge on r squared, and the electric field acts in a radial direction. And the electric field outside both spheres can be obtained by constructing another Gaussian surface. So again we have a surface with a radius r. So the electric flux through the surface is E by 4 pi r squared, and that's equal to the enclosed charge, which is minus 2q distributed on this outer shell, plus q distributed on the inner shell. So we get minus q on epsilon naught. And therefore the electric field is minus kq on r squared in the radial direction. And now let's do part B and get rid of these calculations. Calculate the electric potential function at a point r greater than b. And we'll take the reference potential to be 0 at infinity. So if we take a charge and bring it to a point that's at some distance r from the origin, then the change in electric potential, being the electric potential at r minus the electric potential at infinity, which is 0, is equal to minus of the work done by the electric field. So in this case the electric field for r greater than b is minus kq on r squared, and we integrate from infinity to r. So what we get is minus kq on r evaluated at infinity and r. So we did a shortcut, but you'd really evaluate this as an improper integral. So that gives the electric potential as a function of r as minus kq on r. And now we'll get rid of this calculation and go to part C. Calculate the electric potential function at any point between the shells. So the change in electric potential as we move a charge from infinity to r is v of r minus v at infinity. And we can break this up into moving the charge from infinity to b. So we get the electric potential at b minus the electric potential at infinity, and plus a change in electric potential as we move the charge from b to the point between the shells that's at a distance of r from the origin. So what we get is v at r minus v at b. So moving the charge from infinity to r is minus the work done by the electric field. So we evaluated this integral, and this time we'll evaluate it at infinity and b. So we get minus kq on b, and then minus the work done by the electric field as we go from b to r. So the electric field is kq on r squared, and we integrate from b to r. So that gives minus kq on b minus kq on r evaluated at b and r. So our electric potential function is kq on r minus 2 by kq on b. Now let's get rid of this and move our result to this case, where r is between a and b. And now we'll go to part D, where we'll calculate the electric potential function at any point inside the inner shell. So we get V at R is equal to the electric potential as we move from infinity to point B, and then from B to A. So using this second result, we have KQ on A minus 2 by KQ on B, and then minus the work done by the electric field as we move from A to some point that's at a radial distance from the origin. So the electric field is 0 inside the shell, so the work done by the electric field is also 0. So that's our final result. Now let's go to part E and make some room. Suppose we now set the reference to be 0 at R equals 0 instead of infinity. What is the value of the electric potential at infinity? So the change in electric potential as we go from point 0 to infinity is equal to the change in electric potential as we go from 0 to A plus a change in electric potential as we go from A to B plus a change in electric potential as we go from B to infinity. So it'll be V at infinity minus V at B. So the work done by the electric field to move a charge from the origin to A is 0 because the electric field is 0, and the change in electric potential to go from A to B is minus the work done by the electric field. So the electric field is KQ on R squared, and we integrate from A to B. And to go from B to infinity, we have minus the work done by the electric field, where the electric field is minus KQ on R squared, and we integrate from B to infinity. So what we get is minus KQ on R, evaluated from A to B, so that will be KQ on B, minus KQ on A, then minus is a plus, and the integral evaluates the minus KQ on R, so we have minus KQ at infinity, which is 0, by evaluating the improper integral, and then minus KQ on B. So as you can see, our result is minus KQ on A plus 2 KQ on B. So it's the same result that we got earlier with opposite signs.